Mike Damergis here at the Fantasy Football Fest in Atlantic City, New Jersey, and I'm so excited right now. One of my childhood idols, Bruce Harper, former New York Jets running back, special team extraordinaire. Bruce, thank you so much for joining me right now.
Brilliant introduction. I appreciate it. You said childhood idol.
Well, I'm a little bit.
That means I'm old. You calling me an old man.
Not at all. You look great.
Right.
You stay in shape. You're living in the New Jersey area, like you're saying?
I grew up in Jersey, and I still live in the area. So I couldn't get away from New York City, man. This is.
Once you're in New York, that's
home.
it.
Yeah, this is home.
Let's talk about when you joined the Jets in 1977. Long time since they won a Super Bowl, and the Jets were a little bit in a funk, let's say.
Yes.
So they were a losing organization, to be honest.
Yes.
And it had to be hard coming to the Jets and struggling early on.
Well, I went to Kutztown State College. And
that football factory.
We had never been more than 500, so it was just like par for the course. We never had a winning season at Kutztown, so dealing with what we were doing at the Jets was, no big deal. I was just happy to be there anyway.
Well, 1978, I believe you guys were 500, but then you took a tailback, spin back in 79 and 80. Then 1981, you guys start off 0-3, go 10-2-1 down the road to finish the year 10-5. How'd you guys turn it around?
Oh my goodness! Well, you know what? I have to attribute some of it to Walt Michaels. Once he got his team together, he wasn't the most verbal.
He's an old school linebacker.
He's an old school linebacker, hardcore, and he did a great job of assembling his team, as well as offensive coordinator Joe Walton, defensive coordinator Joe Gardy, and we assembled some really good ball players. And, of course, in '78 with the sack exchange, they finally pulled it together. And offensively, Wesley Walker.
That's all right. You had Walker at the receiver, Johnny Lamb Jones, Jerome Barkham, Mickey Shula, yourself, Freeman McNeil, Mike Augustiniak. Defense, you had the sack exchange, you had Lance Mel, Greg Buttle, Darryl Ray. That was a talented team, Bruce.
I would say on paper, we should have won the Super Bowl a couple of times, but I don't know. It's just that's hard to do to win the Super Bowl.
Well, I said that to Bobby Jackson. Bobby, you guys have the talent. How come you never won a Super Bowl? Why didn't you win a Super Bowl?
Yeah, that's a good question. Should I say the
flooded
field down in Miami? Should I say that?
Well, that was part of it. I mean, let's talk about it in 1981 first. 81, again, 10-5. Only two games you wound up losing were to Seattle down the stretch. And then you get the last game of the year. You had to beat the Packers the last game of the year, and you crushed them 28-3. I believe you guys had about 10 or 11 sacks in that game.
Yeah.
Talk about Shea Stadium, the hysteria. They never experienced that in over a decade in New York.
Yeah, I remember Shea Stadium rocking. Now, that game, I don't remember specifics, but I do remember the atmosphere and the feeling. There was so much excitement. And, the stadium was literally rocking. I mean, the bleachers, they were just rolling bleachers. And you could see their fans
bouncing
up and down.
Yeah.
And it was just absolutely crazy. I think at the end of the game, they tore the goalpost down.
Sure, absolutely.
It was like that was the most exciting time of my football career. It really was.
Now, it's going to be a tough thing to bring up, the playoff game against the Buffalo Bills.
Okay, then don't bring it up.
Opening kickoff, you fumbled the ball. Buffalo went out 7-0 and wound up, before you knew it, it was 24-0. That had to be a shock to you guys.
It was. It was a shock to me, first of all, to fumble the opening kickoff.
Because you were Mr. Reliable, too.
It's the first time the Jets are in the playoffs since the Super Bowl.
Right.
And I'm, like you said, Mr. Reliable, and I get the opening kickoff and try my best. Fumble the ball. They picked it up and ran it in for a touchdown. And that was a serious, hard blow to take at the beginning of the game. But after I fumbled, I went over and I stood in front of Walt Michaels, and I just said, okay, what? I did that. It's over. I'm ready to play football. That was my attitude. And so they didn't give me much opportunity after that. But that was a bad beginning. But we did come back.
Well, it was 31-27, and you were, Richard Todd, the Jets, the offense was pounding at the Bills' door, and he finally got his last play of the game, got picked off right in the end zone there. Right. And you almost wound up winning the game and making one of the greatest comebacks in playoff history.
Yeah, that pass was intended for Derek Gaffney, and I saw it. He was underneath me. I saw it happening, but I felt like I was open. I wish the ball had come back to me.
Well, tell us the play that when you went to the offensive line, you rushed to the line. Do you remember the play? And tell us about that whole drive driving down the field.
Oh, that
Did
was
you guys
crazy.
feel confident you were going to score there?
Mickey Shula again.
Yeah.
I think he was
Had a
he
huge
was
game.
instrumental, and Wesley's always there. And yeah, that was an exciting drive. We got down to the end though, like I said, and I thought it was going to be a completed pass, but Gaffney used a little short pass by Richard,
Right.
And then it happened. But I was really literally open in the end zone.
Oh my God! Don't tell me that now. I can't.
Can you imagine that though? The game start off with
you
fumbling
fumbling and then catching the winning
touchdown.
score.
That would have been great.
No, that would have been phenomenal.
Yeah,
That would
that
have been
would have been
absolutely
great.
phenomenal. So 1982, you guys start off 6-3. You make the playoffs, but you lose 2 games to the Dolphins. The last game against Miami was in Miami. You could have won that game, except a pass could have been intercepted, I believe, by Darrell Ray. Why couldn't you beat the Dolphins that year?
Oh, yeah. You know what? First of all, I was thinking we couldn't lose to the Dolphins 3 times in the same year. I thought sure we were going to win that game, but we didn't go out and do it. We didn't go out and make it happen. I think about Darrell Ray. I don't remember exactly, but I do remember one guy, A.J. Dewey.
Oh man.
And, that was the final.
The
blow,
AFC Championship game.
It was close,
Well, let's first talk about the playoff game against Cincinnati. They were in the Super Bowl the year before, and you guys walloped them 44 to 17. McNeil over 200 yards rushing in that game.
Yep.
I mean, you guys just beat up Cincinnati in that game.
Yeah, you know what? I think football is a combination of that will to win. We had momentum. We had momentum. Winning road games towards the end of the season, and we had it all working together. And then we went in. It's a matter also of the drive, the desire to make it happen.
Right.
And we were just playing so well together as a team that for sure we should have gone all the way to the Super Bowl, but we ended up short in Miami.
Well, the following week you went out to L.A. and sang on the Raiders, and I remember at Lyle Alzado ripping the helmet off of Cubby Ward.
Yeah.
I mean, you beat the Raiders 17-14. This is, the Raiders won a couple of Super Bowls under Jim Plunkett. That was a huge win out there, and that took real audacity to go out there and win that game.
Yeah, that was exciting. Unfortunately, I was watching from the sideline. I had pulled the muscle in Cincinnati, and that's part of the reason Freeman got so many more yards. But I had pulled the muscle, so it was just fun and exciting to watch. Lance Mel with
2
the
interceptions.
2 major interceptions. Yep. Wesley Walker, I could just see him catching a pass over the DB.
He got down to the 1 yard line.
Yeah, right.
And Scott Durkin went the next
yep,
play and scored the touchdown.
That was an exciting. You get me fired up, man. That was an exciting time. It really was.
Well, things were so fired up. I remember you guys had the police escort out to the airport to take on the Dolphins, and we know 5 interceptions by Richard Todd. Don Shula kept the tarp off the field. That affected you guys because you guys were a speed team. You were a cutting team. McNeil, Walker,
They had the
Gastineau.
horses, the mud horses. We were speed guys, like you said. And I think, again, had it been a drier field, I don't want to sound like, sour grapes.
It was a big thing, and it affected the outcome.
It really, really did. And like I said, it was 14 zip. And one of the passes was intended for me, and I had just come back, from that pulled muscle. And I thought it was going to be okay, but I saw Richard Todd. He dropped back. And if A.J. Dewey comes up to cover me, the ball is supposed to go downfield to Wesley Walker. So A.J.'s coming up to cover me, and
the ball's coming your way.
And I said, "Oh my goodness, he's going to throw the ball!" And I was stuck, man.
After that game, to be quite honest, Richard Todd was never the same. How did that affect him, and what was the flight like going home?
Well, you know what? First of all, it was very difficult for Richard playing for the New York Jets from Alabama after Joe Namath came from Alabama to play for the New York Jets. And you can't live up to Joe Namath.
Sure.
And unfortunately, perhaps he tried to do that. If he had just been himself, he couldn't handle that pressure, I don't think, to some degree. He was a good quarterback. He really was. He could run. He could throw the ball. And he was a really, really good quarterback. Unfortunately, like I said, it's tough coming from Alabama after Joe Namath and going to the Jets after Joe Namath. So just didn't live up to it.
And there was a continued season of change. Walt Michaels didn't return as a coach. Joe Walton as a coach.
Right.
It's no secret that a lot of players weren't that fond of Joe as a coach and maybe as a leader. Great offensive coordinator, though.
Great offensive coordinator.
First game in '83, I believe you put up 40 points against San Diego, and it was all downhill after that for the most part. And Freeman McNeil also got hurt against Seattle, and you had to become the running back as well in '83.
But I never understood why would they change the structure, the core of what we were doing. Joe was a great offensive coordinator. Walt Michaels was a great head coach. You know, what he said, he didn't say much, but when he said something, everybody listened. You know, we did what he said. And so we had it working, and that's why we were doing as well as we were. But then the next year, you know, of course, Joe Walton becomes a head coach, and being a head coach, and you can't be the same offensive coordinator doing both. So it was very unfortunate.
And after McNeil got hurt,
right.
You took over the running duties, and I remember one of the first games against Buffalo, a Monday night game. I believe he had over 200 yards, and everybody says, Freeman McNeil, we got Bruce Harper here.
Yeah. No, I had a great game. It wasn't over 200. It was over 100. And but I did have a really good game.
I'm going to go check that now. I think it was close to 200.
Okay, I know exactly what it was. I know exactly what it was. It was 9 carries, and I had 118 yards on 9 carries.
Okay. It felt like 200.
It did. It sure did, man. I was carrying the team, man. It felt great.
Yeah.
You know, but going into that game, what were you saying? What was that question? What was that? What did you say about that game? About the Buffalo?
Oh, as far as the load came to you once Freeman McNeil got hurt.
And you're right. And when that happened, I did take on a little bit more of a role of being the running back. But I think after Freeman was coming back, they started featuring him so much in practice, and you know they kind of froze me out after I had done all that. So for me, it was tough to deal with that.
Right.
And I ended up getting hurt after he came back. So we were never in the backfield much together that season. So he was great.
But you still had some more glorious moments. One was a 78-yard run. I was in the stands against the Falcons. I remember you slipped down, got up, nobody touched you. You ran 78 yards for the touchdown against the Falcons.
That was really that was fun. That was a memorable experience for me. I remember the play very well, slipping down. And when I got up and started running, someone had my foot. They had clipped my toe, and it forced me to pull my body back down and run with really good form. So I didn't get caught from behind the way it happens sometimes, but that was an exciting time.
And as you're running down the field, all I see is Cubby Ward running next to someone like, Cubby, don't hold, don't push, no penalties.
Let me tell you, if you look at the highlights on that, when I got in the end zone, I was not excited. I was not laughing.
You were looking for the flag.
I was looking for Chris Ward to see if there was a holding call. And then after that, we saw it. And then we got excited and started laughing. Yeah, Cubby Ward, you remember that stuff.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. So, that was really a fascinating team, a lot of fascinating players. Talk about the sack exchange, and were some of you guys a little bit jealous that they were getting all the attention, or you didn't mind it at all?
Oh, heck no, man. We were happy they were doing what they were doing, you were confident that they were going to stop the offense and give us another opportunity to come in and do well. I think about those guys, Abdul Salam, Klecko, Gastineau, and Marty Lyons. And not only was the pressure from them, but the linebackers. The linebackers came up and they filled in gaps, man, and we had it all together. The secondary didn't have to do much at all. But it all started with the defensive line. Those guys were great, absolutely great.
You know what, Bruce, a lot of people don't realize it, but that Jet team was very special to a lot of people. Certain radio hosts in New York haven't recognized it, but the fans that grew up in that era and those players in that team were very special. I just want to thank you for giving me some great moments, even though you didn't win the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
I'm not heartbroken about it. Still in therapy. But it was a special team to a lot of people, so I just want to thank you for that, Bruce.
My pleasure, man.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.